What a way to send us into the holiday game on Wednesday against the Boston Celtics. A game that had everything in this Monday night victory for the Philadelphia 76ers before their 6-game road trip. A 111-106 victory over the San Antonio Spurs, where, well, we'll get to it all. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by our good friends from Bet365. We'll get to our Bet365 numbers as well because we had a little fun with that. But Bet365, make sure you go out there and download the Bet365 app. And when you do, you get all of the great opportunities to do some good things there using code PHLY365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. This game was not ordinary. Rich Hoffman, Bree, I'm Devon Givens, all of you. Chris is hanging out with us as well as we kick it with you. We'll talk to Derek and Kyle a little bit later. I'm sure they'll have a lot to share with us being in the building this evening in this wild victory. This was not an ordinary basketball game, Rich. Man. This had a ton in this one.
That was crazy, man. All this talk this week about NBA ratings and what does the league need to change. If you had a game like that every few nights, I think the ratings would be crazy. Now, obviously, there was some controversy with Andre Drummond getting ejected and then unejected. Something I've never seen.
Never seen that one.
You have Joel Embiid then getting ejected from the game. But then you have the Sixers playing shorthanded with a lot of guys stepping up, but two that I certainly want to shout out. Number one, Gershon Yabusele stepping in for Joel Embiid. And knowing how to play, Victor Wembanyama, as you said, on the couch pretty much right away when he checked into the game. And then Tyrese Maxey, just a wonderful game overall. I think he missed his first 3 threes. He was wide open on those in the first quarter. You thought, oh, is this going to be a tough Maxey night? Nope. He was terrific this entire game. And man, what a closing stretch for Tyrese. Didn't have Joel on the floor. That's been a little bit of his rap so far this year. He's been much better with Joel Embiid. No, he dragged the shorthanded Sixers over the finish line pretty much by himself. And the Sixers get out of there with a very improbable win. But yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is, wow, I cannot believe how much stuff happened in that game.
A ton happened. So let's start off with Tyrese Maxey. We'll get to all of everything that happened. Ejection, non-ejection, almost a triple-double for 2 players, right? Paul George steps up. You get some good individual things happening, some shot-making all around, some good sequences in this basketball game. But you talked about the Tyrese Maxey piece because as we got started, he shot 5 times in the first quarter, only 1 basket, and he was 0 for 3 from the three-point line in 9 minutes and 31 seconds. He did have 2 rebounds. He was a -7, though, in that first quarter. So he wasn't good. And after having the games that he had in both Charlotte and Cleveland where he found his shot, in both of those games, hitting 3-pointers at a pretty decent clip, 4 and 6 in both of those games. So 10 made threes in 2 games against Charlotte and Cleveland. He comes in here and we expect, because Embiid is out there on the floor, he's going to look for him. You had the assist numbers because of the fact that Joel Embiid is going to look to pass the basketball. They're going to double team him a little bit, send a little help to help Victor Wembanyama and not allow him to get going like he did last year in that 70-point game. But Tyrese Maxey missed those shots, Rich, and even in the second quarter, he finished with 9 points, but only 1 3-pointer in that time. 2 free throws, 3 made baskets overall. He really got it going, though, in that third quarter, dropping in 9 points, 3 points, 3-pointers on all 9 points. And then finally, Embiid out, already knowing that from the second quarter. Good third quarter, but the Spurs just simply would not go away. After having a lead of 15 points in that third quarter, in that third quarter for the Philadelphia 76ers, the Spurs wouldn't go away. They kept clawing back. And as you greatly pointed out there during the game, he sat those final first 3 minutes of that fourth quarter, and you said, yeah, he can't sit anymore.
He's got to play the whole fourth quarter.
He's got to play the whole fourth quarter because of the final three of that third quarter, and he's got to play and close this game out. Now, the Spurs pushed back, and they fought back. They did not allow the 76ers to with a 10-point lead. They did not allow the 76ers to just push this lead and get away from them. They kept their foot on the gas, trying to chip away, getting it all the way down to a lead.
Yeah, they went up
1 point.
They went up
by
one.
the Spurs. And Tyrese Maxey simply had to take over, man. He had 12 points in the fourth, 10 shots. While he only made 1 3, he had 10 shots. He attacked the basket. There was a runner on the baseline where he had to adjust, knowing that Victor Wembanyama already cleaned up 8 block shots through the first 3 quarters, that he had to adjust his shot making. So when he went to the basket, he just 2 floaters, one on the baseline, one in the middle of the floor that dropped for him, that they needed him to do. That's where the counter comes in. When you are a scorer the way that he is, and you know how the defense is defending you, you have to make sure that you adjust and you counter to what is happening. And when you have a guy like that as a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, one who simply changes the game of how it plays out throughout the entire night, you have to figure out different ways. So, 3-pointers not falling all that well, get to the basket and finish. Getting it blocked while you're attacking Victor Wembanyama, find ways in the intermediate there to score the basketball. And he did that in the fourth quarter with those 12 points. He did not have a turnover out there in that time. He did miss 2 free throws that we pointed out in the moment. These guys simply have to make their free throws. He and Paul George and everyone else.
But they rebounded.
Both the basketball.
Those.
Yes.
Kelly Oubre and Yabu get extra
did.
possessions.
Yes, they did.
Again, man, this game was crazy.
It had it all. And to add to it, he had 10 boards, 8 assists. It
was great.
And he was just phenomenal, especially after that first quarter. So for all of the shenanigans that happened in this game, and we'll get to them all. You all are talking about them in the chat as well.
We will get to them. We will.
This might be the best winner of the season, man, because they continue to need W's, right? This is their 10th win of the season. Rich, we are on December 23rd, and they finally got the win number 10-17, and man, did they need this, knowing that they also were going on a 6-game road trip starting on Wednesday.
Well, it's Christmas.
I said a lot.
It's Christmas in 2 days, man. And I think we still have 2 games so far where Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George have all finished the same game that they have played in.
That is unbelievable. I didn't even think about that. That's unbelievable.
It's crazy. That Maxey.
Martian said we are respectable
10-17. They are something 10-17.
They are something. That's they
fine,
are 10-17. That's what they are.
They were more than respectable tonight, though.
Yeah.
I thought, look, Maxey down the stretch. I think Chris Paul makes a 3 to give the Spurs a 1-point lead.
Yes, he did.
And Maxey, they go 1-2 pick and roll. They really were kind of preying on Tyus Jones and Chris Paul with the guard screen action. And he gets downhill twice. And there were a couple of transition buckets where he got all the way downhill as well. And then the biggest play of the game, in my opinion, Maxey misses a 3. I forget how much time was left in the game. Misses a 3. Spurs get the rebound. Julian Champagnie throws a somewhat lazy pass to, I guess it was to Chris Paul or whatever. Tyrese Maxey out of nowhere, instead of running back on defense, has the awareness to get up, get that steal, throws it down, left-handed Champagnie for the N1. The crowd goes crazy.
He missed the free throw, by the way.
He did.
I'm sorry.
He did miss the free throw. And then, next possession, they get Jeremy Sohan in a screening action. And Jeremy Sohan, who I think what he supposedly does best on an NBA floor is defend. Tyrese Maxey had a lot of success against him, and he hit a very difficult step-back jumper.
Yes,
that actually was one of Sohan's best defensive possessions against Maxey.
Yeah.
But that was just good defense, better offense, amazing, amazing stuff from Tyrese Maxey down the stretch. You could tell he was pretty pumped up. And this is a guy who we've talked about has struggled shooting the ball so far this year, has been put in some really tough circumstances because of Joel Embiid and Paul George really not being on the floor a lot, and Nick Nurse and the rest of these guys not all getting on the same page. What a moment for him down the stretch, out dueling. It was funny, Devon. Wemby and Chris Paul both hit two of the craziest shots you'll ever see. One was where Yabu poked the ball away from Wemby. He makes a three where he's not even looking at the basket. And then there was another one where Chris Paul, with no time left on the shot clock, basically just beats the buzzer when Paul George had him completely stoned for the entire possession and throws up some garbage. And both of those shots go in, and Tyrese Maxey continued to answer him down the stretch. So Bree, let's go to the three things if you have those. And I think that's number one, right? It's that Tyrese Maxey, a lot of difficult circumstances for him this year, Devon. This game, difficult circumstance. Joel Embiid is out of the game in the second quarter. They're playing a Spurs team with Wembanyama and Chris Paul. Just an amazing closing stretch for him. He finishes with 32, 10, and 8, an all-around game. I just thought there was one possession in the fourth quarter that I thought was awesome for Maxey as well. He misses the layup, and it's one of those plays where usually when he misses those layups, he's off the screen and the other team gets a 5-on-4. Yep. Sixers handle the initial fast break pretty well, and Maxey is booking it back, and he ends up getting the steal. And I'm just like, he's locked in.
Yeah.
He's locked in. Like, he really wants this game. He is ready to play. So he was number one. And by the way, there were a lot of excellent performances from the shorthanded Sixers. The other guy who you have to shout out, and we can get to him, Gershon Yabusele. Not only do you lose Embiid, you lose Drummond at some point. I wonder if that big toe injury happened on the ejection / unejection play. But at some point, you lose him too. And so you're basically playing small for a few minutes, and Nick Nurse made the decision to tether Yabusele's minutes to Wemby's minutes. And I don't know if it was all of those French Olympic practices, but that man knew how to play Victor Wembanyama on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, he did.
On the offensive end, pull him out to the three-point line, drill some threes, and then eventually you could pump fake and he'll start trying to block it from, jumping from the paint, trying to block a three. He probably would get his hands on it if you let that shot go. But pump fake and then get to the basket, maybe kick it out. Great job on the offensive end. And then he got physical with him on defense. And Wemby, one of the things he's going to have to work on moving forward is his strength, right? He is somebody who, when he's trying to carve out low post position, his center of gravity is very high. He can get knocked off his spot pretty easily. And Yabu did a great job. I mean, just, it's been a rough couple weeks for him. Not rough, but quiet, right? Where in the first month of the season, he, along with Jared McCain, were two of really the only bright spots on this team. He was so awesome tonight. He played great.
Yeah, he did, man. And he also had a key tip away. Now, you talked about the incredible three-pointer that he made fading away behind the three-point line for the Spurs to give them that lead. But he also had an incredible defensive play where he was semi-fronting him, but did enough with reaching around and tipping the basketball away, leading into a Sixers steal, going the other way for a basket. And that was just the idea of he knows how to play him. The fact that he knows him better than anyone on the team. France practices, playing in the offseason against one another, of course, while they were over there in France. And those things that he played really, really big. There was a ball fake that he had behind the three-point line in the corner simply because he had made a few. And Victor Wembanyama, number one, knowing that he can make that before tonight, and then he made those tonight as well. So he had to decide how to defend, and as he defended, he ball fake, went to the basket, and made a great play once again there.
That ends up in the Caleb Martin three.
Exactly.
Great ball movement.
So just good stuff from Gershon Yabusele all night. And also, Rich, I mean, for a player who's been struggling, well, we were discussing it. We did, Colin Derrick, we were talking about it, Roy as well. These last few games, he struggled on the offensive end. And we've said, maybe he's hit a bit of he's playing a lot of minutes. He's playing out of position. Maybe there's a wall that he may have hit. Not a rookie wall, just the fact that he's been doing so much for this basketball team.
We always wonder about the shooting, too. Is that going to keep going? And there, even as he played so great in the first month of the season, there's a little bit of skepticism moving forward. Can he keep it up? But he answered the call tonight, man. Wow. I mean, they needed him more than they've needed him at any point over the past 3 or 4 weeks. And he was awesome tonight, man. He was so good. So that was a lot of fun. There was another play where he got a backdoor cut from I believe it was Kyle Lowry made the pass, and then he gets the tech for hanging on the rim.
For the dunk.
It's And by the way, that can be a little bit tough, right? Sometimes
Yes.
you hang on the rim because you're worried about landing on a guy.
Yes.
You're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
He did a little bit of a pull up on the rim.
They were on a run. It was a big play. The crowd was into it. The emotions. He hung on the rim. Absolutely.
Yeah. So those are my two big takeaways, right? And I think that there are a lot of guys who played well, played really hard tonight. I thought Caleb Martin gave the Sixers some pretty good minutes tonight as well. I'm trying to think somebody else. Kyle Lowry. I mean, Kyle Lowry,
he had some good minutes.
We've been hard
shot
on him, and I'm obviously not advocating for him to start playing 25 minutes a game or anything like that. But he had his best game in a while as well. But to me, the two guys who really stood out, Paul George as well. I thought Paul George had a really good kind of hustle game tonight. Was good on the glass.
And he wasn't good early on scoring. I mean, he had 6 points early. He had a three. But in the second quarter, it just looked like he didn't have it as much. He took 3 threes, made one, and he just didn't seem like he had it again offensively tonight. Trying to figure out what to do on the floor with both Embiid and Maxey out there alongside of him. But he then once the ejection happened, he settled in offensively and did some other things. Rebounded the basketball, helping out there with 9 boards. Handing out some assists with 4 of those. So I really thought he conducted himself well after the Embiid ejection, especially, and settled into that sidekick role along with Tyrese Maxey to help close this one out, finishing overall with that 19 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, and 2 made threes. He got up 7 threes. So that was a pretty good number to get up there. There were some good looks. They weren't any that I had to look at you, Bree, and Chris and say, what the heck is he doing? There were some pretty good looks. They just did not fall as he continues to find his shot. He even said it on the television broadcast that he's not worried about his shot. It just simply had to come to him. He'll find it. He's not worried about it because he is getting some pretty decent looks. So good all-around game for him as well.
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of good stuff from the night. There was a lot of wacky stuff from the night.
Wacky.
You also have the 2 injuries that I'm a little worried about. I guess we'll ask Kyle and Derek about it later. You have Drummond goes out, and that's, we'll see what happens. Very eventful night for him. Another one, KJ Martin also got banged up. What was that, a knee?
It was a foot?
Something. He actually had a tough game tonight. Your guy, Stefan Castle, did a really good job attacking him. And, when Stefan Castle was scoring on him, he was
like backing him down.
Yeah, and I was thinking,
like, whoa.
Like, man, I've been watching KJ Martin stone guys one-on-one for a month now.
Standing up right?
So for the Rook to be able to get all the way to the rim and score on him was pretty impressive. That was a really fun game, guys. I'm buzzing a little bit after that one. We got a lot to talk about. In the second segment, we are going to we're going to break it down Zapruder style, I guess.
I think so. Yeah, we'll jump into
the
early
nonsense
WTF moments of the night because they're all in that category there, man.
The WTF B block of the night because we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. So we'll do that. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back. We'll get into it all. Crazy, crazy game. Sixers pick up win number 10 of the season. They are now 10-17, and they hit the road for a 6-game road trip beginning in Boston on Christmas Day. We'll discuss it all right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365. And that is where we begin today. Cash money, man. Bet365. It's never ordinary. The game wasn't ordinary, but we got it right in the pregame pick segment. Listen, Rich would have gotten the Embiid assist numbers had Embiid not gotten himself ejected, okay? He would have gotten that. So I'm not putting that one on Rich. It's almost like you're losing your fantasy
I keep betting on this guy.
Stat because Jalen Hurts gets a concussion in the loss to Washington. It's almost like that, right?
I keep betting on this guy. He can't make it to the second half.
It was his fault, though. But that being said, Bet365 is the place that we went to, and so do you. So if you tailed us, or at least me, and you separated the two, you got Victor Wembanyama over 4.5 steals and blocks. He cleared that early with 5 early blocks. Didn't need the steals because the blocks worked. Also, Tyrese Maxey didn't look like it early, but assists and points combined for over 27.5. He clearly got that. I went to Bet365. So did Rich. You need to as well. General, overall, great place to place your bets for any sport. Monday Night Football going on right now. Right now, new customers.
If you the Packers,
if you haven't jumped in as a new customer, please do so now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. If you did early before the the game started, and you tailed us, you get that $150 in bonus bets. Use code PHLY365 to sign up. Deposit $10. Place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. So if you like to place these wagers, big games on Christmas Day as well, this is the place for you to go. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
And Devon, after a game like that, among all the games, I mean, that might be the most you gotta choose chill after that game. When you're talking about the Embiid suspension, when you're talking about whatever happened to Andre Drummond, it's much better when you have a Coors Light in your hand. So let's talk about our friends at Coors Light. Devon, Christmas is coming up, right? And we talked about maybe doing your Christmas shopping tomorrow, but if you're going to have a get-together with your family and friends, why not choose chill? Why not have maybe,
you're hosting.
Yeah, my family, we have a little cooler outside for everybody. Keep it cold outside. Go choose chill. Have yourself stocked with Coors Light. Coors Light is a cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold package for a smoother finish. Make the most of the times that you choose chill. Choose Coors Light and get Coors Light delivered to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365. And as Rich, you talk about being cold outside and having the cooler, you can just put the bottles or cans outside.
Yeah.
And just let
yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that cold right now. I hate it. It's ridiculous.
That's my one of my favorite things about Thanksgiving, but especially Christmas. Thanksgiving, sometimes we get these warm Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
You might need the cooler, you might need a bucket or something outside.
Yeah.
Nah, you can just leave them on the porch.
Yeah, you can just leave it right out there. By the way, if you are cold and you're looking for it, you're like, it's time to go shopping.
It's freezing.
Last minute. Look, check out my Scully right here, folks. Check it out. Check it. While I model this Scully right here, check it. Go to allphly.com. Go to our merch section there, and you can find one of these cool beanies. I have the midnight green Eagles.
Looks great.
Eagles midnight green. They're also the all black, navy blue, red as well. And you can go get your own at allphly.com to stay warm. Because, Rich, again, you go outside, you think, I'm just going to run into the mall. It's cold. I have my sweatshirt on and a scarf. I'm just going to run in. And then the hawk hits you. And it's really cold and you need a hat. You run back to your car. You know what you had in the back seat? Your PHLY Scully. Even though it says beanie on the website, it's a Scully to me. So go out there, get yours. Or maybe even as a stocking stuffer for someone in your family,
Perfect
your loved
stocking
one.
Stuffer.
Absolutely. So go ahead and get that allphly.com. Go to the merch page. All right, let's get to it.
All right, the chat is ready for
this.
Let's
get to it, folks.
The second quarter. Let's do it.
WTF moments of the night. The moments of the night. Bree, I'm sorry we hit you early with the WTF early because we got a lot of moments and we have to get to them because social media was buzzing. We were buzzing. Even the television broadcast was, but this was the talk of the sports world tonight. So let's start off with number one. Andre Drummond first gets ejected. He had already picked up a tech, right, from this Wembanyama stuff, and then he gets ejected. So, Rich, let's just talk through it.
So, as you see, Devon, the second Wemby falls, the official on the bottom left corner there, she makes the call right away. Technical foul.
Nick Nurse is going berserk, by the way.
It's among the maddest I've ever seen Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse, obviously, he always has that perplexed look, right?
Yes.
He might take the glasses off. He might start rubbing the eyes a little bit.
Yes.
He was hot, man. He was absolutely pissed at this call. As you can see, the ref makes the call right away. Technical foul, Andre Drummond.
Big time flop, by the way, from Wembanyama. Smart, but big time flop by Wembanyama on that particular play. Big time flop.
Yeah. Or, I mean, at best, he tripped
Thank you,
over.
Bree. Yes.
At best, he tripped over Drummond's foot. That's the charitable way to talk about it. I'm with you. I think it's a flop.
And that's a foul. All right, fine. They give him a foul.
No, it's not a foul.
But no, I'm just saying because you know how they call trips. Yeah. So, all right, if you give him a foul on that one, fine. If he goes nuts then and earns a technical because he's going berserk, then he got his money's worth. But this one, man, Nick Nurse had every right to go nuts the way that he did. I even said to the team in here, Rich and Bree and Chris, Nick Nurse, get ejected, man. Get yourself ejected for that one because that was insane.
You were yelling, get tossed.
Get tossed. Because
he looked like he was listening to you.
It was a low-scoring game. They felt like they didn't have any juice. And I'm like, this is going to get, you know how sometimes this happens and you just say, all right, somebody gets tossed and it energizes the team overall. I want to see who's going to coach the rest of the game. I want to see how they uplift. Embiid at this time was still in the game, so he comes off. He would have to come off the bench for Drummond.
He was laughing at this.
Yes, he was, and he was talking to the official. He was discussing some things with her, like, "Come on, this isn't right. What are you doing here, Jenna? This is not right." And
it's bad that we all know her name.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we know her name. We all know the names anyway, but still,
I'm not sure I knew her name.
You didn't know it was Jenna?
No.
Okay.
Now I do.
Yeah, Jenna Schroeder, whatever one. Yeah, Jenna Schroeder. Okay, you know. All right, so that happens. He gets tossed. Everybody's losing their mind. The officials huddle. They have to go to the monitor to check it out. Video number 2. It's overturned. And what happens? Andre Drummond, he emerges from the tunnel. And he gets a standing ovation.
He gets the biggest pop he will ever get as a Sixer. Andre Drummond coming back from being unejected. Look at these kids clapping. Coming back in the game. Jenna, thank you for that moment.
Yeah, my bad. I bleeped up. And Bree, play that one again because that is hilarious. Is he more popular here or after he was traded to Brooklyn? He didn't even.
It was insane. It was really funny. Good for Andre Drummond for coming back in the game there. If she just makes a normal call and just calls a foul on him, then he doesn't get that great moment.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. So unfortunately, he couldn't finish the game because of the toe injury. But what a moment.
Okay.
What a sequence, by the way.
But Devon, the ref show in that sequence was not over at that point. Because at some point there, they say, okay, not only is this not a technical foul on Andre Drummond, not only are we going to uneject him from the game.
Love uneject.
We're gonna give Victor Wembanyama a flopping tech. And we're going to let Tyrese Maxey shoot a free throw on the other end.
Yes.
Tyrese Maxey makes the free throw. You said at the time, it's nice that he saw one go in the hoop on that shot. But then one of the other officials, not Jenna Schroeder, goes to the monitor and says, hey, by the way, the flopping technical has been rescinded. And that free throw that we all watched Tyrese Maxey shoot, yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. We're taking that off the board too. What is going on with that sequence?
Yeah, that was
what is going on?
Just insane. They took it away, so no point for Tyrese Maxey. But little did they know they got him going because he makes the free throw, then he fouls it up. Once the play resumes, he knocks down a three-pointer, Rich, that he needed because, again, he was 0-4 in that first quarter. And the final video that we have here is the one that we can't really laugh all that much at.
No, then it gets a little more
Joel
serious.
Embiid gets tossed. This is a long video, so we'll just talk through it, Rich. Joel Embiid gets ejected. Let's roll it, Bree, because he's running up the floor, normal play, trying to seal, trying to do what he does. Look. It was a charge.
I think that's a foul on Joe. Yeah.
That was a charge.
Yeah.
Now, he gets the tech here, right?
He's fine here. He doesn't have one tech.
Right,
there's
there.
For that stretch during the second quarter. It's clear that he probably was a little bit frustrated. And then he gets the charge call where Wemby takes it. And it's one of those calls where, Joel is trying to throw his weight around, right? That's the way he's going to beat Wemby.
Especially since so my thoughts on this one were this.
He lost it.
He lost it a lot. And, I jokingly was like, he didn't want to play tonight. He just wanted to get out of there, go take a shower. And Chris did later send us the video to show us that he was he waited in the tunnel to greet Tyrese Maxey after the game because of his big performance and closing this game out. Overall, here are my thoughts on the Embiid part of it, because this is the stuff that I don't like.
He needed to choose chill.
He needed to choose chill. That's right, Kyle.
He probably did, Kyle. At some point after the first tech, he probably needed to choose chill.
So my issue with the technical and the way that he reacted. I don't mind players getting emotional about a play that they disagree with the officials on. My issue is this: understand where things are within the game. While you're struggling, the team is also struggling, and you desperately need a win. So as much as we gave Nick Nurse and Joel Embiid credit for playing him in that Charlotte game, sitting him against the Cleveland Cavaliers, they needed him out there tonight to win this basketball game. In the end, they ultimately did not. Maybe some of that uplifted. You get a tech, you get ejected, team huddles, as we know, especially in the locker room, because that was in the second quarter. We all know how it goes in a locker room, where you come together and say, we need to win this game collectively and find a way to do so. But my issue is this: he allows himself sometimes to get to allow his emotions to get the best of him. And that affects and impacts how things go with the team. More times than not, I'll say 8 times out of 10, I'm on his side when he does these kind of things. This one, he was wrong. And he could have cost his team in this game, where, once again, we talked about it in the pregame. This was a winnable game that they needed to get. Number one, because they continue to try to stack wins. And number two, they have a tough road trip upcoming, beginning with the Boston Celtics in 2 days on Christmas. That would have
been bad. If he congratulates Tyrese Maxey after the game. If they lose this game and it's close, and it's one of those games where it's clear that he would have helped, I mean, we would have led the show with, man, Joel Embiid got suspended, and, I think our commentary would be the same on it. But for a team that really can't afford any losses, that they can't afford to just throw away games at this point. He put them in a tough spot. So a couple of guys are saying that he did not lose it after the first tech. Lose it might be like a little strong, but he's still pretty heated in a way that you are putting yourself at risk for another technical, especially with the fist pump and all those things. So he definitely escalated. Definitely he got angrier after the ejection, for sure. Somebody said that Kyle Lowry wasn't holding him back on the sidelines after it was over.
He was trying.
I think that's fair. I mean, I do feel kind of ridiculous trying to break down an ejection at this point. I mean, we all saw what happened. Again, heat of the moment type thing. If you want to argue that the ref maybe take a little bit of a different route, try and walk away, and maybe just let him go for a few more seconds, hope he calms down after that first tech, I think there's an argument for that. I think a lot of the frustration with the ref tonight, Jenna Schroeder, one of those two, is that she made so many other bad calls besides this. Like the Drummond call was terrible. She said she effed up. There were a couple other calls. Kyle Lowry had an offensive foul called on him that was ridiculous. Nick Nurse was apoplectic on the sidelines. So,
and we had another one where we were like, "What does she do? What is she seeing?" And yeah.
So, is there an argument to be made that maybe she should have just let him go with one tech? Maybe. I don't know what that fine line is,
and we don't know what he said.
We don't know what he said
to pick up that first tech. The first tech, like a lot of people were saying, he shouldn't have gotten it. Maybe he shouldn't have. We don't know what he said, though, and that's how it goes, like the C.J. Gardner-Johnson thing, where he gets slapped, right? But they decided, basically, whatever he said, it was too far, and that's how it went. And this is following, by the way, everything that happened with Drummond, so you would think that she has a much longer leash of tossing somebody or giving somebody a tech. I'm guessing he said something that was tech-worthy for the first one, just because we weren't there, so we don't know.
I'm guessing, but we don't know.
We don't.
We don't know.
We don't.
And it was a bummer. The whole thing, Hey, look, we have people on both sides, right? Both sides in the chat saying, some people saying she was ridiculous. She needs to find a way to walk away from him and just, it's not about her. Like, look, star players getting ejected from games is bad for business in the NBA. The NBA is an entertainment product. I understand the refs are there to keep order, and they certainly have a job to do. But ideally, they would not be this big, like, a part of the story. They would not inject themselves in a way that these refs did tonight. Yeah. On the other hand, there are people saying that Joel can't put himself in that situation. And I guess, I don't know. I think both sides are there's probably some truth to what they are saying. Where you come down on it, probably also like your priors on Embiid factor into it there. Yeah. It was a tough situation. Luckily for Joel, Tyrese Maxey bails him out and the Sixers get away with it.
And Yabusele.
And Devon and I can laugh about it a little bit.
So 2 things. I jokingly said that maybe he didn't want to play. Again, I'm just kidding. I'm not saying he didn't want to play. He wanted to play. He was frustrated, but he wanted to play. I was just kidding. Al said, Devon, make sure you say that you were just kidding before people take that seriously. Yes, I was kidding. I'm sure he wanted to play this game, especially against Wembanyama. He gets up for these games against these other stars, big men in the league, and he gave him 70 the last time out. So I'm sure he wanted to do so again here tonight, give him a good showing tonight. And he also said, Al did the 2-minute warning on Twitter. They said he touched her on the second tee. So if that's the case, I didn't see that, but Al, you saw it. I appreciate it. Just reading the comment, and that's what Al was sharing with us there tonight. So there's that.
So it was a crazy game. I will say, too, after that ejection, after Joel Embiid gets his second tech, man, the amount of Bronx cheers, she was hearing it the entire night. You could hear that through the TV, Devon, that every call that she was making, every call that really the entire officiating crew was making was getting a lot of scrutiny, a lot of sarcasm from the South Philadelphia crowd.
Yeah.
It was, the refs had an interesting night.
He let his frustrations get the best of him, and it could have cost his team. It did not. Tyrese Maxey saved the day. Yabusele picked up a lot of that slack at the 5 with both he and Drummond out. So good work by those guys. Those were our WTF moments of the night, presented by no one. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the rest of the game. We'll check in with Colin Derrick from the arena, as this was a crazy, crazy night, but the Sixers do pick up the win, 111-106. Embiid ejected. Andre Drummond ejected. And then, what is it, Rich? Unejected. And then it'd be, Tyrese Maxey, Gershon Yabusele saves the day. By the way, Victor Wembanyama is an alien, as he is affectionately called. The man had 8 blocks. He almost had a triple-double with
7
8 blocks
midway through the second quarter.
Some rebounds. We'll discuss it all when we get back. More to come right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365.
And Devon, I am here to tell you about Empire Today, who can help you with all of your carpeting and flooring needs. You can use empiretoday.com/PHLY for $350 off new floors. With Empire Today, you get to shop for home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. And Empire Today is clearly the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, there are copycats out there. Other places that advertise lower quality products, but they're advertising the products that Empire Today simply will not carry. Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. Empire's philosophy on what they put out there is that what they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Shopping for floors at a big box store can be frustrating. You might talk to someone today who was not talking about flooring 5 minutes ago. But flooring is all that Empire Today does. They live and breathe it. So you can be confident that you're getting honest and upfront advice. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHLY. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHLY for details.
All right, and I have to tell you about Rite Aid. It's cold outside, folks, and we just talked about it. You're running around, And oftentimes when you run around like this, you're not thinking through everything clearly. Oh, I can put on this hoodie, just this hat, run into the store. You start sweating a little bit because you're all energized and ready to go. And the pneumonia creeps up on you, and you don't want that. So you have to protect yourself from pneumonia. Adults aged 50 and older are now eligible for the vaccine. It was previously at 65 plus, and the CDC then lowered it, the age recommendation, to 50 plus. Millions of people get pneumonia every year, according to the CDC. It's respiratory illness, and fall and winter are a time when germs that cause respiratory disease typically spread more in the community. So now is the time to get vaccinated and help yourself stay healthy. Some people who do get pneumonia have mild symptoms, but others experience serious complications. The vaccine is one of the best ways to keep yourself healthy. It usually costs nothing with your insurance, so check and see if you're eligible. Getting vaccinated is easy. Just walk into your local Rite Aid or schedule online at riteaid.com. Unsure of what vaccines you may need? Well, just ask your pharmacist for a personal recommendation. Stop by your local Rite Aid today. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365. And as you were reading, Rich, I was looking on the socials, and I saw our good buddy Kyle Neubeck has the pool report on the technical foul. You asked this question. You were like, wait a minute, don't they get a pool report on something like this? Well, you ask and you shall receive, because they do have the pool report. And our buddy Keith Pompey of the Inquirer, inquirer.com, conducted the conversation with the report with Curtis Blair, who was the crew chief for tonight's game. The main question is about Joel Embiid and the ejection. I know he was arguing, but what was the cause of the ejection, and did he hit the official?
Bree's got it up there for us.
Blair says after post-game review, there is incidental contact with both of them, but it was incidental in that nature. There was nothing that warranted any further punishment. It was just incidental in that nature.
That's fair.
Yeah, okay.
But why was he ejected?
Yeah, what was the cause? He was given 2 unsportsmanlike technical fouls, which by rule is automatic ejection. So in your experience, what are unsportsmanlike? Some things that are said, right?
Well, that's the worst part about the pool report sometimes. And I'm not blaming Keith, because I've been on the wrong side of one of these two, where you ask for an explanation of what happened, and then they just say unsportsmanlike fouls. No. What happened, man?
What is it
what happened?
that made it unsportsmanlike?
What was the thing that happened that you deemed to be unsportsmanlike? And sometimes they just stare at you with a blank face. So it's one of those things.
All right. Following up with another question about the Drummond sequence there. The sequence of Drummond where he was ejected and then was brought back into the game. When you looked at the review, you saw that he didn't cause the foul, right? Blair, after the review, it was determined that Drummond stepped on Wembanyama's foot, and it was deemed incidental contact, just as you said, right? Just stepped on his foot. That was it. Why was the flop taken away? Correct, because Wemby tripped over Drummond's foot. All right, so that is why the point was taken off the board? Correct. That is crew chief Curtis Blair and Keith Pompey of the Inquirer, inquirer.com. He asked the right questions on this one, man. That's what we wanted to know. That's exactly what we wanted to know.
We didn't get all the answers, but I don't think that was Keith's fault.
They are very well trained
to
not answer questions.
My guy John Goebel used to give me the stone face, man. He'd be like, "This is all you're getting.
Right?
You'll like it, too.
Right. Take this and like it.
You'll like it, you stupid reporter."
Yeah.
It seemed like the crowd was great for most of this game too, right? They're booing the refs the entire game, but down the stretch they get Maxey going crazy. And I will say, as somebody who was not in the arena tonight, but somebody who has been in the arena for a lot of Maxey takeovers down the stretch, he gets them going. When he makes a couple big threes, when he makes that dunk down the stretch, he loves doing this to the crowd to egg them on a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So it sounded like it was a great crowd down at the arena tonight as well. So that is good. I'm happy for Sixers fans that they had something to cheer for a couple days before Christmas, because they haven't gotten a lot of presents so far this year, Devon.
No, man. And you also pointed out, can we also just talk about the three-pointer, that step back over Sochan again? Because that was just
really
incredible.
Hard shot.
That was incredible.
Just great shot making. I mean, it wasn't the best offense in the world. Sochan defended it pretty well. but that's, sometimes you just got to shake the other guy's hand. And in that case, Jeremy Sochan had to shake Tyrese Maxey's hand because that was off balance. Didn't have a lot of time to get it off, but he had the touch to make the shot. Great hit for him there.
No, it really was, man. That was incredible. That was incredible. So really good win for this team. Again, we'll check in with the guys from the arena.
A lot of Violet Palmer talk in the chat tonight.
She was a good official.
You think she was good?
I thought she was good. I thought she had some really bad moments, but I thought she was a good official.
Yeah. You know what? It was so long ago. I'll defer to you on that. I don't remember her being a great official, but I will say the one thing about the official tonight for everybody is whether or not she got the Joel Tech right tonight, she did a bad job tonight. Like she wasn't good. She was bad overall. Yeah. And that might have been part of it, but even if it wasn't, she had a really rough game.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, she had a bad game. Again, it wasn't just those moments. We also had a few other moments where we just simply looked and were like, what was she thinking right there? That wasn't great. That was not good at all from Jenna there tonight. Yeah, she's getting attacked a lot on social media, not only locally, but nationally, because, look, this was a big game. Number one, it was the NBA TV game. Number two, it's those two playing against one another, again, for only the second time because Embiid missed the game against the San Antonio Spurs in April of the end of the 23-24 campaign. So there were a lot of eyes on this one, man. And
these two teams play good games, man.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, a lot of good stuff in there. Anybody else really stand out to you from this one? Good or bad? Caleb Martin. We talked about him with his shooting, where it didn't look like he had much of a hitch in his shot tonight. And coming off the bench,
where did he fall?
27 minutes, he was 3 for 5, 4 for 8 overall, 3 for 5. He had a nice dunk as well, and he finished with 12 points off the bench, 5 boards, 1 steal, 1 block.
Where did you fall on the hitch thing? Because I put that out on Twitter that I thought he was looking a little more fluid with that shot, and some people said, no, he still has a hitch. It's just going in the night.
I
thought it was a little more fluid.
I agree with you,
especially with the shoulder in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Right before he went on the injured list, and he basically had those 2 weeks off. I thought he was grabbing that shoulder a lot. I felt like they were smoother tonight. I know they went in. I also thought the process was a little easier.
Yeah, I thought it was more in the lower part of his body where we would see the leg kicks. Right, the Elaine Bennis leg kicks when he shoots the shot.
Happy Festivus,
yeah,
everybody.
Happy Festivus, everybody. It is December 23rd, so happy Festivus. But I did see that it was more fluid. It was just more where you still saw the lower part of his body there with the feet kicking out when he was shooting.
Okay.
Yeah, so all right, we'll get to our super chats after we talk to the guys at the arena. Oh, what a way to send the guys on the road with a game like this one tonight. Kyle Neubeck hanging out with us. Derek with you as well? Is Derek with us or just you tonight, Kyle? Derek is here too. We got the guys with us here tonight. And man,
we're here, baby.
This was a wild one, Kyle. And we just read your tweet with the pool report with Keith Pompey of the Inquirer.com with crew chief Curtis Blair. And that was just some wild stuff. So could you take us, both you and Derek, into the arena tonight, your vantage point of what you saw in the moment and how things changed thereafter?
Well, on the Andre Drummond thing, my vantage point was just describing things as they happen, and Nick Nurse just started laughing in the middle of his press conference at the absurdity of that situation. The Joel one, I was obviously more taken aback by because that was as visceral and as angry a reaction as I can remember from him in the entirety of the time I've covered him. And obviously he had a much publicized moment of rage earlier this season away from the floor. What I tweeted earlier, which I thought was important to note, he didn't actually come storming down the sideline until after the second tech. And I thought this was a situation where I think both parties did not hold up their end of the bargain, right? Like if I'm looking at it from the Sixers perspective, Joel has to be smarter and Joel has to look at it as like, look, we just can't afford to lose games, right? And we can't afford you to take yourself out of a game. Now, on the other side of it, the official has to know You've already had a disastrous moment with Andre Drummond where they throw him out of the game. Then they rescind that and say, actually, there was a flopping tech on Victor Wembanyama. They shoot a technical free throw, make the free throw, and then they took the point off the board after they had the luxury of video replay to reassess all this. And so the whole crowd's mad. The Sixers are pissed off about what happened. You have to know emotions are on edge a little bit. And so when Joel goes up and is screaming in an official's face at midcourt, obviously give him a tech, say like, hey, this is where the line is, let him yell his heart out. He's walking back to the bench, you're walking the other way, and that should be the end of it, right? That's how you police the game and keep things moving. Instead, you get just the worst of all worlds. And then on top of all that, Gershon Yabusele hanging on the rim tech. Like, if there's anything I'm most mad about tonight, it's after all of that, after you completely screwed this game up from a game flow and game management perspective, you just cost Yabu $2,000 with that tech and the Sixers a point in a close game. But more importantly, you're taking money out of Yabusele's pocket after he had a great game and an inspiring performance in the second half. Just an embarrassing display of incompetence from the officials tonight.
Kyle, that was well said. I saw your tweet that it was the worst officiated game you've ever covered. You've covered a lot of them.
I'm not even sure it was close either. Like at least that Knicks game 2 or whatever, that was an isolated sequence of events. That was one
sequence at the end, yeah.
This was, I mean, Derek and I are talking during the game. That one moving screen they called on Paul George, I said to him, I was like, if that's a moving screen, Kevin Garnett would have been thrown out of every game he ever played. Like that's in the moving screen category, that's barely even on the radar. So just the little things that happened throughout that game, let alone the big flashbulb moments, were just a complete joke. So terrible handling. And then, so you mentioned the pool report. The thing I don't like about that pool report as well is that there's no actual explanation there, right? They said there was incidental contact and like there's no further punishment warranted from that. And he gets 2 unsportsmanlike texts for yelling. It's like, okay, well, that's not good enough. You got to tell me what he said and what was yelled that warrants you throwing him out of the game then. Because if it was not physical contact, which seemed to be what the people on Twitter and other platforms were trying to suggest, then you have to give me a damn good reason why somebody's getting thrown out just because they're mad about a foul call.
So those are your thoughts. Derek, what did Nick Nurse say? Did you guys get Joel after the game?
No.
Did you get Drummond?
Joel was gone before we got there. He was not made available. Nick Nurse pretty much just laughed at Kyle's explanation of the Drummond sequence, and that was for the most part what we got there. I will say, in terms of the pool report, I think it's good that they deem the contact incidental, because I think that very limits the chances he will be suspended after this. So I think that's good. To Kyle's point, the refs turning into robots when you get asked about a pool report is not great.
So bad.
We all know the rule that 2 technicals gets you ejected. Tell me why you gave them the technical, not what the rule is. That is very, very frustrating. But no, outside of that, we don't have too much more in terms of like Joel wasn't made available.
All right. Well, I'll let you go on the positive, Derek. And that is, wow, Tyrese Maxey, what a closing stretch in a season where he has been a little bit of a hot topic over the past couple of weeks for Sixers fans. That was just awesome.
Yeah, no, it was a great close. I thought earlier in the game, I thought he did a little better job of, using the threat of his drive to create shots. I thought the drive and kick game was maybe a little better than it has been at various points throughout the season. And obviously you come down and he makes 5 3-pointers, a lot of them in the guts of the game. I thought him being able to, generate steals and attack the rim without the 7'4" alien in the vicinity was huge. And obviously the big threes were incredible. It felt like a lot more like last year Tyrese Maxey than the one that we have been seeing. He's obviously been shooting the ball a lot better here over the last 2 weeks. That is huge. They need to get him back on track if they're going to be able to do anything this year. But he was, that was a vintage performance. They desperately needed that. I think they, in weird ways, a lot of times when you're star gets ejected like that, you do get a little bit of a rallying effect. And I thought he carried that momentum and made big play after big play after big play down the stretch. And it was great to see.
Yabusele did the same thing, Kyle, here as we talk about Joel Embiid getting ejected. Andre Drummond, we'll ask you about that here shortly. But Yabusele then comes in and he plays really well, finding his shot, knocking down the threes, ball fakes, getting to the basket and finishing. But also just as important was the way he played Victor Wembanyama on the defensive end with the familiarity of with those two knowing one another from their time, of course, in France. He really stepped up, finding his offensive play and certainly picking up the slack defensively as best as he could against Wembanyama.
Yeah, I'm about to start a GoFundMe for that $2,000 fine.
You're upset about losing that bread.
Listen, man, that's a garbage call in any game. It's even more garbage after what happened tonight. So I would say the other thing that I'll complain about, not related to Yabu, but on the Spurs side, Victor Wembanyama, Joel Embiid got thrown out of the game. Andre Drummond can't play because of a toe contusion. The only two bigs left are Yabu and Adem Bona, who didn't play. And all that guy did was jack threes tonight. I'm sorry. I'm going boomer mode. That was nonsense. Get your ass in the paint and dunk on some people, man. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest. So, yeah, Yabu was awesome. And I think the thing that I really saw in that second half was just the versatility, right? Like when Wemby didn't want to come out and contest shots, Yabu's taking the open three, and he made a bunch of those. When Wemby's maybe playing up a little bit higher and has to cover from three-point line to the rim, he did a good job of using his physicality, getting inside a little bit, scoring around the basket. And, yeah, obviously on the defensive end, the fact that he's limiting that guy to just being a standstill or fadeaway jump shooter is a credit to him, and a good understanding shown from him playing alongside him, practicing with and against him for the French national team. I just think I wish this team had been normal this year, that they had gotten like a decent bill of health for Joel. Paul George doesn't suffer these injuries, because I think someone like Yabusele would be getting like real national love, right? If this was a better team, the fact that this guy's played backup center, he's played power forward, and he's hitting way more threes than I think most people expected. He's a secondary playmaker. He's doing all kinds of stuff, and it's like the quintessential role player thing, right? New night, new challenge. Coaching staff asks you to do something different, and he's risen to that challenge, not all the time, but vast majority of the time. So he has had an awesome season for me, and it was cool to see him in this circumstance where chips are down, you really need them, step up and help them get. I mean, this is probably the biggest win of the season, is it not, given the circumstances and all that?
Yep, absolutely. And if you guys are hanging out with us here tonight, make sure you go to allphly.com, read the stories from all three of the guys here, Kyle, Derek, and Rich. Rich, of course, with his newsletter daily. Make sure you check everything out at allphly.com. Derek, what are your thoughts on Yabusele?
No, I mean, he really was like he competes, and his physicality, I think, can really impact someone like Wemby, who, as Kyle noted, should get his 7'4" rear end down towards the basket. He is, the shots going in obviously help. He had been struggling a little bit here over the last couple of weeks, but just the high compete level, the willingness to mix it up, the overall intelligence, whether that's as the secondary passing or the defensive rotations, he has been very consistent for the most part with that decision making. And while the jump shot maybe has not been consistent, the fact that you can trust him to make the right reads, make the right plays, to swing the ball correctly and quickly really lifts the floor. So even though when he's struggling, he might not have the box score stats, for the most part, I still like what he does. And you combine everything today, the physicality, obviously knowing his opponent that he's going against, and the shot going in, it was a massive performance. And to Kyle's point, they didn't have very many options left. Clearly, Nick's not going to want to put Adam Bonus in the game all that much there, especially against Bonus. I don't know if Rich saw that the other day. That was not a slip up on my part, to be clear.
No, I had listened to the pod, the Saturday night pod. Yeah,
but
I know Adam
clearly
Bonus.
He didn't want to go to Bona there in a tough spot against a really tough matchup. So for Yabusele to give them what what he did, it was necessary. It was huge, and it's something that I think we're starting to take a little bit for granted here from a guy that I don't think we knew what to expect from coming into the season.
I think that's all I got.
Well, actually, one more. Do you guys have anything more on the Drummond and KJ Martin injuries? Just toe and that's it.
Toe and foot, I believe,
foot.
right? So
Yeah.
I actually joked before we went to the locker room. I was like, I wonder what the odds are that Drummond kicked the wall because he was mad and hurt his toe. Because I don't know what happened. And we still haven't gotten much of an update. Well, that was the craziest part about the whole thing, right? Is once they showed that angle on NBC of the tunnel, and he was so ready to be, expecting that his night was done, that it's like, damn, his jersey's off. He's got to get dressed before he comes back out there, and obviously got the hero's welcome. So no, not much of a formal update. Obviously, some of that is just because everyone was focused on Ref Show 2024. So what a way that was the final home game of the year, right? Like the calendar year. So
Yep.
What a way to send off 2024 at the center, as they say. Just a complete circus. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Not at all, man. Wouldn't have it any other way, of course. Working with all of you guys, and we let you guys go. And you want to add something, Derek, to that?
Well, I was just going to say this segment should have been titled, I got a lot of problems with those refs, and now you're going to hear about it. Just wanted to wish you guys a happy Festivus and hope you have a great holidays.
Absolutely. And that was presented by no one.
Eric only said that because he's scared to do the feats of strength live on camera.
Wemby, fight your father.
Happy holidays, fellas. Get home safe. Merry Christmas. All that. Hold it down for us.
Absolutely, man. Merry Christmas to you. Kyle will be off. Derek will be in with me on Christmas Day. So Kyle will be off. So Merry Christmas to Kyle, and we'll say that to Derek on Christmas Day. We appreciate the fellas joining us. And again, their visit, as always, from the center following the game was brought to you by no one.
Nobody.
All right, let's get to...
That's my favorite line when Frank says to George, George, fight your father.
Fight your father. And you hear Estelle in the back.
Get him, Georgie.
You can take him. All right, let's go to Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beats, saying Wemby gave the ref some TLC and Ishkabibble before the game. Ishkabibble, by the way, in my opinion. Non-neighborhood, that's my favorite.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
Yeah, my favorite is my neighborhood spot, of course, but when you go, of all the places that are supposed to be like the places, Ishkabibble is my favorite. Bill, checking in with the Super Chat. Thank you, Davon, by the way. Do we think any chance Embiid could get suspended? No.
No, I think especially because the only thing that was informative from the pool report was that they thought the contact was incidental. I got to imagine having to sit out the whole second half of this game for whatever he said will be enough there.
Yep, absolutely. So we appreciate that, Bill. Thank you.
I could be
wrong, but we don't think so. Especially,
but I don't think so.
Especially with the nationally televised game on Christmas Day.
5:00 game on Christmas.
I don't think so. I think they want to kind of let this one die down after the performance given by the officials, mainly Jenna. So they'll leave this one alone. He'll get his text. He'll get his fines for the text.
At $4,000,
and that'll be it. Yeah, so that'll be it. He can afford it. He can pay Wembanyama. Yabusele's as well, and just get it over with.
We need Kyle to update us on how much each player is losing per game.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. James just wanted to say hello and donate. Thank you,
as
James, always, for the Super Chat. We really appreciate it. And we go to Citizens X real fast before we get to Michael B, just because Mike dropped a big number and a longer message there. We'll go with we're almost starting to play like the Knicks with some hand clapping there. Merry Xmas, go Sixers from Citizens X. Merry Xmas to you too.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Citizen X. Knicks are playing really well, man. They're blowing out a lot of teams. I will say the one major difference between the Knicks and the Sixers is that all of their starters, all of their key players have pretty much played every single game so far this season.
Yep.
So it is a little bit different in terms of continuity and the ability to gel and play together. Obviously, a bunch of those guys, not Cat and not McHale, but some of those guys have played together. But yeah, that offense looks legit. I mean, they're scoring, they're scoring a bunch of points. They're winning by 30, 40. Citizen X also, because it's the holidays, I will add in another comment that the citizen had, he or she. They said, when are we going to allow call-ins for rants after a game like this? I don't know. Yeah. It's a good idea. It's something we'll workshop in the future.
I would say stay tuned.
Yeah, we got to figure out a way.
Is that okay to say that, Chris, Bree? Stay tuned. All right.
We got some other stuff to figure out, but in the future, we would love to hear from you guys and have you guys do the work for us.
Stay tuned. All right, let's get to our buddy Michael B dropping another big 50 spot. Mike, as always.
Thank you, Mike.
We appreciate that. And so Mike says in his big time super chat, gents, sincere wishes to you, of course, for the happy holidays. I'll do better in 2025, and we all hope the Sixers will as well. Tonight was a great start. Love to the community. And LFG, let's bleep and go. Mike, happy holidays to you too, my friend.
Happy holidays, Mike.
The beauty of it all, as we always talk about, man, the reason why we do this, number one, just because we're sitting in this spot, we love talking sports just like you do.
Love it.
And we appreciate it. So to be able to do this with all of you, Mike, and everybody, we really enjoy this stuff. To have fun, to laugh, make some jokes, have some fun segments, talk to Bree, laugh with Bree, put all this stuff together for the show. Chris with the great social media, things that he does for our show. We appreciate everybody. We really thank you all for all you do, hanging out with us and making our show what it is. I will ask this, though, because I know we were all devastated by the Eagles' loss. They'll be in the playoffs. It'll be fine. You just hope that Jalen Hurts is okay. Mm-hmm. The one thing is I was watching, they were trying to get the subs up for the subscribers.
We're close to 30K. Are we there yet?
Close to 30K. Right now I'm sitting at 29.9, and I don't know the exact number. Maybe Chris does. But with that, what do you have, Chris? 953. So I don't ask for a lot. Rich and I don't ask for a lot. Can you get us 47 more subscribers just by asking your people, your friends, your family, and just simply asking them to subscribe to our channel, PHLY Sports, on YouTube? Get us to 30,000. I know they did a great job pushing that number on the Eagles watch along and the pregame show and the postgame show. We didn't quite get there at that time, but if you could, just asking a little to ask your folks to have them subscribe. 47 more, and we're at our 30,000, and we would greatly appreciate that. All right. Well, we got a lot of people to thank here tonight.
Yes, we do.
And let's start off with our good buddy. Look at Garbanzo in there right away. Garbanzo, always a great part of the show. We appreciate Garbanzo being in there. Let's start off with Martian Lynch with the always great takes on.
Always entertaining.
Roll call time, folks. All right, Michael B, super chat, and just simply jumping in the chat. We also have Garbanzo, as we mentioned, Tom Jackson in the chat. Who else? Real Time with Prince Blue, Eugene Ross. What up, Gene? Brian Knight. We also had Ron, Aaron. What up? Al, the 2-minute warning. What up, Al? Igavini, Phi Chi. Citizens X, also with the super chat. We appreciate that. Vince Pellegrini, our GM. What up, Vince? Yelling at Joel Embiid, saying he was acting childish.
As always.
In the chat. X-Man. What up, X? Always appreciate it. Our good friend Jeannie hanging out there in the chat. Who else do we have in here? We have Money Mar, Charlie Hendrickson. What up, Money? We have Boots Zilla. Boots. What up, Boots? Rich P, my guy, Rich. Mary Overfield says Rich has the best newsletter out there. And Mary, you are 1,000% correct. Thank you so much for being a subscriber and a diehard and a member of our show. We really appreciate that as well. Sir Shmooey was in the chat tonight. What up, Shmooey? John Dickerson, we see you in there. Patrick Harris. and Khalif, who had to bail out a little bit early. But if you listen on the podcast, so go back and check it out. We appreciate it. Leaf, thank you so much. And we also have to shout out our friends, the ladies
who were here.
They dropped off some really cool things, and we appreciate it.
That's
Jess,
and Val.
Val hosts, of course, all of them active in the chat here as well. Thank you so much, ladies. We really appreciate it from the bottom of our heart. We did open the cookies while we were watching the game.
I had a few.
We had a few of the
crumbs all over this sweatshirt.
of the cookies. And the other great thing, some cake and some other snacks as well, some gifts that they dropped off. We can't thank you enough. We really appreciate it. Sean, who else is that? Slang King? Is that Slang King in there? We see Slang King?
That is
Slang King in there as well. Thank you so much. So, ladies, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for dropping off the great treats, the great gifts. And we can't thank you enough for being part of our show, as always. So thank you. Thank you very much. And we love you back, and we appreciate it. And we got to say goodbye. Now, as we say, make sure you go like and subscribe. Again, as I asked, 47 more to 30,000. So if you could pass the word along while you're going around, you're walking around, people see you with your hoodie, your hat, whatever it might be, your shirt. Tell them it's PHLY, and they can just simply go subscribe to our channel. And when you do, you like and subscribe. You hit the bell icon, and you hear Rich do the honors. You hear that, folks, you know it's showtime. You know it's showtime. Well, we got to say goodnight, and we have to say Merry Christmas to Rich. Merry Christmas, my friend.
Merry Christmas, man.
Thank you. Always.
As always.
It's my guy, Rich Hoffman. Again, we always talk about it, man. You would be on the shows on the station, but we never had a chance to work together, and this has been a blast.
So much fun.
As we push through get to 2025.
Keep doing it too.
And we do that. So Vince said 45 more now. 45 more. So we got
good job,
two.
Guys.
We got two.
All right.
Chris, Merry Christmas
to
to you, man. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Bree, are you going to be with us on Christmas Day?
I will be here on Christmas.
Bree will be here on Christmas. So we can say Merry Christmas again to Bree. All of you say Merry Christmas to Bree. We hope you see you. If we don't, we understand it is Christmas and you're spending time with family and friends. But if you do have the game on and you just simply decide that you want a pre and a post game, you know where to show up. And you can spread the word with the family during the holidays as you spend time together. Everybody, have a great rest of your night. We want to thank you for hanging out with us. Our show, once again, is presented by our good friends from Bet365. Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. I've read that so many times. I know it by heart now. If you notice, I don't look at my computer. I just run that thing off because I know it. Make sure you do, though, if you need help, 1-800-GAMBLER. Everybody, if we don't see you on Wednesday, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you all. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. We couldn't do it without you. On that note, we will be back on Wednesday. Game time is 5 o'clock. We will be with you at 4:30. Derek, Bree, and I will be here with you, hanging out. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Be careful out there. Choose chill while you're in the house as well. We'll talk to you on Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Good night.
We all silly like the mayor.